The first hours. The snow hits like a wall, not flurries. A wall. 2 minutes ago, you were sitting in a dentist's waiting room, flipping a magazine, half listening to the heating unit rattle above the door. Now you're outside and the sky is the wrong color. Yellow-gray, bruised, like the air before a tornado. It's August. The trees are still green, full summer leaves, and they're bending almost flat under snow that didn't exist an hour ago. It's 87 degrees Fahrenheit at noon. The forecast said 91. By 1:30 p.m., the thermometer outside the pharmacy reads 29 degrees Fahrenheit. You feel it before you believe it. Your shorts, your thin cotton shirt. The air on your bare arms drops like a bucket of ice water. In 90 minutes, the world shed 58 degrees. That's not weather. That's something else. You jog back toward your car on Route 9. 8 inches fall in 4 hours, but the first 3 come in 90 minutes. Heavy, wet, dense. The kind of snow that snaps branches the width of your wrist. The green oak trees along the shoulder bend sideways, leaves still attached, white-loaded, breaking. You've never seen anything look so wrong. Then the canopy goes, 2 blocks ahead. A metal awning over a grocery store entrance. The one with the red "Summer Sale" banner still up, shudders once and drops. You hear it before you see it. A deep, metallic groan, then a crack like a rifle shot, then glass and bricks across the whole parking lot. A woman's cart spins into the road. Nobody moves for 3 seconds. You get to your car on the highway. 4 lanes, maybe 200 vehicles stopped at every angle, hazard lights blinking orange under the white. Nobody's moving. The snow is already past the wheel wells. You sit in the driver's seat for 90 seconds. You leave the keys in the ignition. You get out and you walk. Day 1. You walk 2 miles before you see the gas station. The pump canopy is still up, barely. One corner has buckled under the snow load and touches the ground, bending the whole steel frame into a lean. The power lines above the lot are furred with ice 2 inches thick, sagging between poles like old rope. Every line, every wire. The yellow light inside the convenience store windows glows warm. That warmth is the most dangerous thing you've seen all day, because it makes you believe things are still okay. They are not okay. The line of cars stretches back 40 vehicles. More. You can't see the end. Some of them still run, exhaust plumes rising straight up in the dead cold air. Some sit with doors hanging open, abandoned mid-queue by people who gave up and walked, same as you. The snow is 14 inches deep and still coming. You walked here in sneakers. Your socks are soaked through. Your toes stopped hurting about a block ago. You don't think about what that means. Not yet. You reach the door at 7:48 a.m. A piece of cardboard is taped inside the glass. Handwritten, black marker. No gas/no milk. The owner is already inside, face hard, keys in hand. He locks the door at 8:05, 2 hours after opening. You watch him flip the sign. You watch a man in a gray SUV lay on his horn for 30 full seconds. Nobody inside moves. You call your mother from the parking lot. The signal is weak, but it connects. You tell her you'll drive down tomorrow morning. She asks if you promise. You say yes. You say it easily, like a promise still means what it used to mean. The line goes dead at 9:20. You never call back. There's no signal to call back on. You don't know that yet either. You find a road atlas in an abandoned Ford F-150, still warm inside. You start walking north. You count your money. $43. No food, no water. August, and you can see your breath. 1 week. The tanker truck arrives at 9 a.m. It always arrives at 9 a.m. You know this because you've been in line since 7:15. The community center parking lot holds maybe 60 people when you join the queue. Snow is packed knee-high along the edges in gray ridges, dirty from a week of boot traffic and exhaust. Someone has chalked numbers on the pavement in white, 1 through 200, smeared but readable. You are number 114. The military green truck parks and the driver doesn't make eye contact with anyone. People hold cooking pots, plastic jugs. A woman near the front grips a stock pot big enough to cook pasta for 10. You have a single 2-gallon jug and a backpack with nothing useful in it. By 10:40, The truck is empty. You are still 12 people from the front when it happens. Someone shouts. Someone shoves. A man in a ski jacket over a dress coat swings first, and then 4 people are on the ground, and broken glass from a smashed car window sprays across the pavement and glitters in the flat gray light. 2 smoke columns rise from rooftops a block away. Somebody burning chairs, burning bookshelves, burning whatever burns. You back up 6 steps. You leave with nothing. Your jug is still empty. That night, you make a decision in about 4 seconds. The house 3 doors down has been dark since Tuesday. No footprints in the snow on their porch. Their woodpile sits along the side fence. You can see it from the street. 30 or 40 split logs under a blue tarp. You tell yourself they left. You tell yourself you're certain. You're not certain. You take 11 logs. You carry them in 2 trips, arms burning, jaw tight. You get your room up to 52 degrees by midnight on 2 gallons of heating oil and a fire that eats 4 of those logs by morning. You sleep. You don't feel good about it. You don't stop. 1 month. The emergency broadcast plays at 6 a.m. and again at noon. A meteorologist's voice, flat and careful, says the jet stream has collapsed. Permanently. On human timescales. You don't fully understand what that means until he says the temperature baseline is already 18 degrees Fahrenheit lower than the historical average, and still falling. You sit with that for about 30 seconds. Then you go pack. You fit 9 years into 2 duffel bags. One has clothes, one has medicine, a multi-tool, a hand crank radio, and 14 days of ibuprofen. Your books stay. Your photographs stay. The blue couch you dragged up 3 flights in 2015 stays. You close the door without locking it. The lock means nothing now, and you don't look back at the window. From the street, the apartment building already looks abandoned. Dark windows, no smoke from the roof. The neighboring houses are the same, cold chimneys, dead. You walk 4 blocks to the house on Mercer Street. 12 of you total, 11 strangers and you. The house is 1,400 square feet, and the wood stove is rated for 1,200. You do that math immediately. The one unboarded window glows orange from inside. Snow is packed in crude berms against all 4 walls, waist-high, shaped by hand. Through the glass you can see clotheslines strung room to room, wool socks, mittens, a child's hat, hung to dry above the heat. Someone did that on purpose. Someone planned ahead. A man with a gray beard holds out a plastic bin. He doesn't say much. You drop in your car keys, your prescription bottle, your lighter fluid. A woman across the room adds a cordless drill and 3 cans of sardines. Someone else adds a Motorola 2-way radio and a box of .22 shells. Everything goes into one room. One lock, one shared inventory. You learn what it costs to not be alone. You learn it the moment you let go of the keys. You learn it again when you take your assigned 4 a.m. shift, feeding the stove its 18-hour burn. 6 logs every 2 hours, exact, no more. And you do it without being asked twice. The old world had your name on a lease. This one has your name on a fuel log. That's enough. 6 months. It is May. The recorded low last night was -4 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't check the news anymore. You pull. The sled rope cuts into your right shoulder through 2 layers of wool and a Gore-Tex shell. Behind you, 170 pounds of gear rides on a door wrenched from a minivan last January, mounted on 2 aluminum ski poles and a set of skateboard trucks. The other sled is the same weight, pulled by the man with the gray beard, though you no longer think of him by his beard. You think of him by his pace. He keeps 4.5 miles per hour on flat ice. You know this. The 4-lane commercial road is a tunnel now. Snow reaches the second-floor windows on both sides. Storefront signs are buried to their tops. You can read the bottom half of a Subway logo and nothing else. Traffic lights hang inside solid columns of ice. Dark, perfectly still. The sky above is flat white. No sun, no shadow. Your breath comes out in long clouds that drift behind you like exhaust. 9 miles round trip in -12 degrees Fahrenheit wind chill. You've done worse. The sporting goods store collapsed in February. roof pancaked under 14 feet of accumulated snow. You'd marked it on the laminated map 3 months ago. Today, you spend 40 minutes cutting through a display window with a silky folding saw, and then you go in. The cold keeps things. Propane canisters still sealed. 48 of them, 1-pound cylinders. Thermal base layers still vacuum-packed, brittle but whole. Sleeping bags rated to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. You count and load fast. You don't browse. You don't take anything you can't carry. You load 340 pounds across both sleds and lash it tight with 8mm static line. Your left hand signals nothing while you tie the knots. The 2 outer fingers have been numb since February, when you spent 90 minutes in minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit air without a proper glove liner on a run that went wrong. Permanent. You tie the knots anyway, reading the tension through your palm. The haul doubles what the group needs to survive next winter. You don't feel proud. You feel the weight of the rope. You start walking. 1 year. They come in a column that stretches back past the tree line. You see it from the watchtower, a dark line of bundled figures moving through the white, maybe a quarter-mile long. Someone counts 400, then 412. The number changes every hour for 7 days. You do the math on day 2. Food stores recalculated. 1,100 calories per person per day. That's 200 below the safe minimum already. You write it down. You stare at the number. You don't change it. The gate is welded car frames in chain link, lit by 4 construction work lights running off a diesel generator. At night, the crowd outside glows pale yellow at the edges. Their breath rises as one fog. You can't see faces. You see layers, scarves, balaclavas, coats duct-taped at the seams. They look like bundles left out for pickup. They are not bundles. You know this. You help anyway, for 7 days, past every margin you drew. Then the margins run out. The council meets for 3 hours. The numbers don't argue. You absorb 320. You turn away 80. Someone has to walk out and say it. You volunteer. Not because you want to, because you were the one who drew the margins. The wind is at -9. You open the gate and walk out into the yellow light. 3 of the 80 are children. You can see their eyes above their scarves. You say what you have to say. You watch them turn. You watch them walk back into the white until the snowfall takes them. You close the gate. You don't tell anyone what your face did. At 3 a.m., the watch wakes you. There is a basket at the fence post, wicker, lined with a wool blanket, set in the snow just inside the gate. Boot tracks lead away toward the tree line, already filling with new snow. The tracks are already almost gone. Inside the basket, a child. Newborn. Alive. The group takes the child in. Nobody votes. Nobody speaks. It just happens, the way necessary things happen when words have already failed. You stand in the generator light and look at those disappearing tracks for a long time. You don't know her name. You never will. But every decision you make from here will carry the weight of what she trusted you with in the dark. 2 years. The medical container has a yellow light burning in its one porthole window. It has burned for 6 days straight. You committed all 180 gallons of the diesel reserve to keep it burning. The entire reserve, nothing held back. Because 11 people have pneumonia, and the temperature inside that container has to stay above 50 degrees Fahrenheit, or the antibiotics lose efficacy and people die slower instead of faster. You made that call on day 1 of the outbreak. You knew what it cost. 3 work crews are out at the timber cordon, 4 kilometers east. No generator backup. No heat source except body warmth and whatever fire they can keep lit in -20 degrees Fahrenheit air that drops to -22 degrees Fahrenheit with wind chill after dark. You radioed them the situation. You told them the truth. You asked them to hold 7 days. On day 5, 2 of them don't come back. You write their names in the log. Anders, Brault. Not in memoriam. In the resource column, where the record of every decision lives. You put the date. You put the cause. You leave the column open. You don't close it with a period. The 11 people in the medical container live. On day 7, you implement the fuel rotation. Every adult pulls an unheated overnight watch. No exceptions listed. Your name goes into the rotation, same as anyone else. Third slot, first night, 0100 to 0400. You suit up in the same expedition gear everyone else owns. A balaclava with the breathing hole cut wide. A second wool layer taped at the wrists with gorilla tape against the gap. You walk out into the courtyard under a single sodium work light on a pole. The sky is clear for the first time in weeks. Stars, sharp as glass, cuts. The shipping containers that form the perimeter wall stand in rows, each one spray-painted with a number in white, Container 7 through Container 19. And the packed ice ground between them holds a faint mirror sheen where 1,000 boot soles have polished it over 2 years. Your breath rises from the balaclava in a steady white plume. It is minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit. You stand your 3 hours. People see you there. They don't say anything. The resistance to the rationing schedule, the grievances, the meetings, the low anger that had been building for 4 days stops. Not because of an argument, because of a visible fact. You learn that power isn't what you say. You learn it's what you're seen doing at 100 in the dark when the temperature is minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit and you didn't have to be there. You learn that people will follow a cost they've watched you pay. The names Anders and Brault stay in the log. You don't close that column. Not anymore. 5 years. You smell it before you see it. Inside the greenhouse, the air is wet and green and alive in a way that has no name in the world outside. You push through the double flap door, 2 layers of heavy plastic sheeting, the gap between them trapping warmth, and the cold drops off your shoulders like a coat. The structure is 600 square feet of polycarbonate sheeting bolted to reclaimed steel framing. The walls fog with condensation. Through them, the outside world is a white smear, featureless and absolute. In here, a tomato plant climbs a wire trellis 2 feet from your face. 3 fruits hang from it. Small, uneven, the size of a child's fist. Red the way nothing outside has been red in 5 years. 14 children stand in a half circle around the plant. Their hands are behind their backs. Nobody told them to do that. They just did it. The instinct you have in a museum, near something irreplaceable. You pick all 3 tomatoes. You slice each one into 8 pieces with a paring knife. 40 people. A 34-foot geothermal pipe drilled by hand over 8 months. This is what it bought. Each slice is the size of a thumbnail. You taste nothing you remember. You taste something better. That afternoon, you run the children's cold skills class in the converted school, a hardware store with the shelving stripped and benches bolted to the floor. A girl, 7 years old, raises her hand. She wants to know what grass feels like. You open your mouth. You have nothing. You try to find it, the specific feeling, the give of it, the smell after rain, the way it left green stains on the knees of jeans. It isn't there. The word is there. The fact of it is there. The feeling is gone. She watches you. She doesn't think the silence means loss. She thinks it means the answer is complicated. She is right. She doesn't know why. Outside the school's boarded windows, the street is fully built now. Cargo sleds parked in rows, walls insulated with packed straw brick, rope and plank walkways crossing between second floors, so people never have to touch the ground in deep cold. Animal tracks in the packed ice. A working world. She has never seen bare ground. She doesn't know it's missing. You close your hand around the chalk. You describe what you can. You leave out the rest. 10 years. Dawn comes gray and slow. It always does now. You pull on your expedition coat, the third one, the patches on the elbows worn through twice and repatched with canvas cut from a dead man's pack, and you step outside. The packed ice under your boots makes no sound. It never does anymore. At minus 31, it's too cold for creek. The wood store is 40 meters from the main hall. Low timber shed. Frost on the inside of the roof planks. White fur growing downward from the joints. The single lantern on its hook throws yellow light across walls stacked floor to ceiling with split logs. You do the count the way you always do. 4.2 cords. 11 weeks. You run the numbers without thinking, the way you once ran a grocery total in your head. That's when you see it. A small rectangle of cardboard, tucked under a stone on top of the nearest stack. Torn from something, maybe 4 inches by 5. You pick it up. A green field, a yellow sun. Crayon, pressed hard, the way small hands do. The kind of drawing that goes on a refrigerator. You stand there. Outside the open shed door, the settlement is waking. Pale orange squares appear one by one in the blue dark. Windows, lit from inside, the same color as the lantern in your hand. The horizon is flat and white and endless. It has been flat and white and endless for 10 years. You put the drawing in your chest pocket. You go back to the count. The child finds you an hour later, trailing you on rounds the way they always do now. 8 years old. Left at the gate in a wool bundle, nameless, February of year 2. You were the one who carried them inside. They ask why you always check the fire yourself. You open your mouth. The answer is there. Because I watched the last one go out. Because I know what it costs. Because I am the person who stayed. But none of it sounds like anything except an old wound with a voice. You hand them the poker instead. You show them where to press. They do it right on the first try. You don't tell them that. You are standing at your kitchen window in Minneapolis, hanging the last of your laundry on the indoor rack. The tomatoes in your garden, third summer running, hang green and hard as stones. You notice how the air tastes different now, how July feels like October used to. The heating unit hums steadily behind you, keeping the house warm as it must, always, now. Outside, the sky pales toward another unseasonable cold. Somewhere, someone else is noticing the first small sign. Somewhere, the flickering begins again.